Have you ever told yourself, I'll do it tomorrow? And then tomorrow came and nothing changed? I've been there too. We all have moments when we want to grow, learn, or create something new. But somehow, we delay. We scroll, we rest, we wait for the perfect mood. That comfortable pause feels safe, but it slowly steals our time. Laziness is quiet, gentle, and dangerous. It doesn't shout, it whispers, later. And one day, we wake up realizing that later never came. But here's the truth: laziness is not who you are. It's just a habit, a pattern you can change. In this episode, we'll explore how to break that pattern. We'll talk about simple steps, real stories, and small actions that spark big change. Because once you take the first step, everything starts to move. And that's how transformation begins. Have you ever noticed how laziness feels harmless at first? It starts small. You say, I'll do it later. Just 5 more minutes in bed. Just one more video. Just one more scroll. It feels like nothing. But those small moments start to add up. And suddenly, days pass. Weeks disappear. Years fade away. You look back and wonder, where did the time go? That's the hidden cost of laziness. It doesn't demand payment right away. It collects interest quietly, little by little. And one day, you realize the price is regret. Imagine a young student. Every morning, his alarm rings. He opens his eyes but says, 5 more minutes. Those 5 minutes turn into 30, then into hours. By the time he gets up, the morning is gone. He feels guilty, but he does the same thing again tomorrow, and the next day. It becomes a cycle, a comfortable trap. From the outside, his life looks fine. He still goes to class, he still laughs with friends. But inside, something is missing. He's losing time, the most precious thing he owns. And time never returns. That's the real thief. Not failure, not struggle, but delay. Because every time you delay, you give away a piece of your future. Now imagine another student. Same age, same routine, same alarm in the morning. But when it rings, he says, just get up. He doesn't overthink. He doesn't wait to feel ready. He stands, washes his face, and opens his book. He reads for just 10 minutes. That's it, 10 small minutes. But those minutes change everything because he's building something invisible: momentum. And momentum grows quietly, like strength inside your mind. 10 years later, the difference between these two students is huge. One feels stuck, the other feels proud. One has dreams that never moved. The other has built a life brick by brick, not through luck, not through talent, but through small, consistent action. Laziness always sells comfort. It tells you, you deserve rest. And yes, rest is good, but there's a difference between rest and escape. Rest renews you. Escape drains you. Laziness is a soft pillow that slowly becomes a cage. It steals your energy and replaces it with guilt. Here's the tricky part: laziness doesn't hurt today. That's why it's dangerous. You feel fine skipping one day. You feel fine waiting one week. But time has a quiet way of punishing delay. You wake up one morning, look back, and realize that the things you wanted most are still just ideas. Not because you couldn't do them, but because you never started. Every choice shapes who you become. When you choose comfort, your brain learns to give up faster. It learns that it's okay to wait. But when you choose action, even a small one, your brain learns the opposite. It learns strength. It learns confidence. You're training your mind with every tiny decision. That's why every lazy moment feels light. But every active moment builds power. So think about this. If you keep delaying, what will your life look like in 5 years? Will you still be dreaming about the same goals? Still telling yourself, one day? Or will you look back and feel proud that you started, even small? Because here's the truth: Laziness looks cheap today, but it's the most expensive habit you can own. It steals your time, and time is your only real wealth. But there's good news too. Once you see this clearly, you gain control. When you name the thief, you can stop it. When you understand the cost, you start to act. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. You don't have to change everything today. You just have to begin. Because the moment you act, even in the smallest way, you start to take your life back. Have you ever felt that sudden burst of energy after watching a motivational video? The music swells. The words hit your heart. You feel unstoppable. You tell yourself, tomorrow I'll change everything. And maybe you do, for a day or two. Then the feeling fades. The alarm rings and you hit snooze. That strong fire turns into a quiet spark. You wonder, what happened to my motivation? Here's the truth. Motivation doesn't last. It's a visitor, not a resident. It comes quickly and it leaves quietly. That's why so many people start strong but never finish. They depend on a feeling that was never meant to stay. Let's picture someone you might know. Maybe it's even you. He decides to improve his life. One night, he feels inspired. He writes goals, watches success stories, plans his future. The next morning, he wakes early and works hard. Day 1 feels perfect. Day 2 feels strong. But on day 3, something changes. He feels tired. The energy is gone. The fire has cooled. He skips his plan. He says, I'll get back to it soon. And slowly, the old habits return. Did he fail because he's weak? No, he failed because he trusted motivation too much. Motivation is like sugar. It gives a quick boost, but it cannot feed you for long. It feels sweet, but leaves you empty. That's why we need something stronger. Discipline. Motivation depends on how you feel. Discipline depends on what you decide. Motivation says, I feel like doing it. Discipline says, I'll do it anyway. Motivation changes with the mood. Discipline stands firm, no matter the mood. That's the difference between short-term excitement and long-term success. Think about two learners. The first waits for motivation. When he feels inspired, he studies for hours. When he feels lazy, he does nothing. Weeks pass and his progress slows. The second learner builds a system. He studies 20 minutes every morning. Same time, same place. Sometimes he's excited, sometimes he's tired, but he always shows up. 6 months later, his English improves. His confidence grows. His secret is not talent. It's structure. It's consistency. We often say, I'm not motivated. But what we really mean is, I'm not feeling it. And that's okay. You're human. Feelings change. But if you only act when you feel like it, you'll live a life ruled by moods. And moods are unpredictable. One day you move forward, the next you fall back. That's the endless loop of motivation without discipline. Here's the twist. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you start, even small, you awaken your energy. You move your body, your mind follows. That's how momentum begins. The problem isn't that motivation disappears, it's that we wait for it instead of creating it. Think about exercise. On January 1st, the gym is full. Everyone feels inspired. But by February, it's half empty. Not because people are lazy, but because they built their goals on emotion, not routine. Those who stay consistent don't always love the gym. They've built discipline. They move even when it's hard. That's what keeps them going. So what's the solution? Stop chasing feelings. Start building systems. Set a small, steady habit you can repeat daily. Don't wait to feel ready. Do it first. Feel ready later. Tell yourself, I'll just start for 5 minutes. And often, those 5 minutes will grow into 30. Because once you act, energy follows. Motivation is the spark. Discipline is the fire. The spark starts the journey, but only the fire keeps it alive. When you understand this, you stop blaming yourself for losing motivation. You start learning how to build momentum through consistent action. So next time you say, I'm not motivated, pause. Don't wait for the spark to return. Light your own fire. Take one small step. Open the book. Write the first line. Move your body. Because every time you act, you create energy. And that energy will always be stronger than waiting for a feeling. There's a secret that almost no one talks about. It's simple, but once you understand it, it can change your life completely. Are you ready? Here it is. Action comes before motivation, not after. Most people believe the opposite. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect time. But that moment never comes because waiting creates more waiting. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. And the harder it feels, the more you tell yourself, I'll do it later. That's how the loop of laziness begins. Let me tell you a story. There's a young woman who wants to study English. Every night she plans to open her book. But when the time comes, she feels tired. She says, I'm not in the mood. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow arrives, and the same excuse repeats. She's stuck in a pattern. Not because she can't study, but because she's waiting to feel motivated first. Then one day, she hears about a mental trick. She decides to test it. She tells herself, I'll study for just 5 minutes. No pressure, no big goal, just 5 minutes. She opens her book and reads a small paragraph. Something surprising happens. Her brain wakes up. Her energy rises. 5 minutes turn into 15. 15 turns into 40. By the end, she feels proud and alive. What changed? She didn't wait for motivation. She created it through action. This is the magic of starting small. When you act, even a little, your brain rewards you. It releases dopamine, the chemical of progress. You feel good, so you keep going. The cycle reverses. Action, energy, motivation, more action. That's how momentum begins. Think about cleaning your room. When you look at the mess, it feels overwhelming. Your mind says, it's too much. But if you start by folding one shirt, something shifts. The mess looks smaller, you feel lighter, you keep going. Soon the room is clean, and you wonder why it felt so hard. That's the power of small action. The first step is always the hardest and the most powerful. This principle works in everything: studying, exercising, writing, even building confidence. Don't wait to feel brave. Act, and bravery will follow. Don't wait to feel inspired. Start, and inspiration will come. Every feeling you want comes after you move, not before. Here's a simple phrase to remember. Start small, and energy will follow. It sounds easy, but it's deeply true. When laziness whispers, not now, answer with action. You don't need an hour. You don't need the perfect plan. You only need to begin. The wrong belief says, I must feel ready before I act. That belief traps you inside your emotions. When you feel lazy, you stop. When you feel scared, you wait. But the right belief says, I act first, then I feel ready. That belief frees you. It gives you control. It teaches your brain that feelings follow behavior, not the other way around. Let's make this real. Next time you feel lazy, try this experiment. Pick one tiny action. Open your book. Walk for 2 minutes. Write one sentence. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Watch how your body changes, your mood lifts, your energy grows. The wall of laziness starts to crumble. That's your proof that action creates momentum. Once you understand this, laziness loses its power. You no longer wait for motivation. You summon it. You become the creator, not the prisoner. And each time you start small, you prove something important. You don't need to feel ready to begin. You just need to begin to feel ready. So remember this. Every big goal starts with one small action. Every transformation begins with one brave moment of movement. And the next time you hear that little voice saying, "Not now," smile and whisper back, "Just 5 minutes." Because 5 minutes is the spark that can light your entire fire. Have you ever wanted big results? Fast? Maybe you wanted to speak English fluently in 1 month, or lose weight in 2 weeks, or completely change your habits overnight. It's a common dream. We all love quick success. But here's the truth. Big goals often fail because they feel too heavy. When something feels too big, our brain freezes. We say, "I don't know where to start." We feel overwhelmed. And then we do nothing. This is the trap of thinking too big. You don't fail because you're lazy. You fail because your goal scares you before you even begin. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who wanted to run a marathon. He was excited and full of energy. On the first day, he ran 10 kilometers. Halfway through, his legs started to hurt. He pushed himself, but he couldn't finish. The next day, he was too sore to move. He took a break. That break turned into a week, then a month, and soon the dream faded away. Now imagine another man. He has the same dream, but he starts differently. On day one, he runs for just 5 minutes. That's it. No pressure, no big plan, just 5 minutes. The next day, he runs another 5. After a week, 10 minutes. After a month, 20. He feels stronger each time. 2 years later, he finishes his first marathon with a smile. His secret? Small, steady steps. This is the principle of small beginnings. Small actions build confidence. Confidence builds consistency. And consistency creates success. Big dreams are built on small steps, not giant leaps. Think about learning English. Some students try to study for 5 hours a day. They start strong, but burn out fast. After a week, they quit. They feel frustrated. But another student studies for just 10 minutes each morning. It feels easy. He can keep it up. After a month, he's more consistent. After a year, he's fluent. Small steps win every time. Here's why it works. Small goals feel achievable. Your brain doesn't resist them. You start with less fear. And once you start, you build momentum. Every small win gives you energy for the next one. It's like climbing a mountain, one step at a time. You don't reach the top in a single jump. You move slowly but surely. Big goals can be dangerous because they create pressure. You expect perfection. You want results right now. But when progress is slow, you feel like you failed. That's why people quit. They mistake slow progress for no progress. But slow progress is the only kind that lasts. Here's the truth. Success isn't built in a day. It's built daily. Small efforts repeated again and again create transformation. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing a little every day. There's a simple phrase I love: step by step, little by little. Every time you feel overwhelmed, say it to yourself. It's a reminder that you don't have to finish today. You just have to start. The beauty of small steps is that they teach patience. They shift your focus from the outcome to the process. Instead of chasing results, you enjoy growth. You learn to celebrate effort, not perfection. And that changes everything. Here's a quick tip. Choose one small action today. Read one page of a book. Write one sentence in English. Take a short walk. Do it consistently. Tomorrow, do it again. That's how habits form. Quietly, gently, one moment at a time. Over time, small actions compound. They multiply. They grow into habits. And habits shape your future. The man who runs 5 minutes today can run 5 miles next year. The student who studies 10 minutes today can speak confidently next year. So remember, start small, but start now. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Perfection is a delay in disguise. Take one step, no matter how small, because every mountain begins with a single step. And every great life begins with one simple choice: to begin. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to start, but how easy it feels once you're already moving? That's the magic of momentum. Momentum is the invisible force that turns small actions into powerful habits. It's what makes hard things feel lighter with time. And once you have it, everything becomes easier. Let's start with a simple truth. Starting is always the hardest part. When you're at rest, everything feels heavy. Your brain resists movement. You think, I'll do it later. But the moment you begin, even with one tiny action, something changes. Your energy shifts. Your focus sharpens. That first move breaks the weight of inaction. It's like pushing a car. The first push takes strength, but once it rolls, it keeps going. Let me tell you a story. There was a young writer who dreamed of finishing a book. He had the ideas, the passion, the vision. But every time he sat down to write, he froze. He waited for the perfect words, the perfect time. Weeks passed, and the blank page stared back at him. One day, he made a new rule. He promised to write just one paragraph a day. That's it, one paragraph. It sounded simple enough, so he began. The next day, he wrote another, and another. Soon, one paragraph became two. Two became pages, and pages became chapters. A year later, the book was finished. Not because he was inspired every day, but because he built momentum through action. That's how momentum works. It's not about speed, it's about direction. Every small action pushes you forward. Every forward step makes the next one easier. You stop thinking, I have to, and start thinking, I want to. Your brain begins to crave progress. It becomes natural. Effort turns into flow. Think about exercise. The first week is the hardest. Your muscles ache, you want to quit. But if you stay consistent, something amazing happens. Your body adjusts. Your mind adapts. What once felt like effort becomes routine. You've built momentum. Now missing a workout feels strange. That's the power of consistency. It transforms effort into identity. Momentum doesn't just make things easier. It builds confidence. Every time you take action, you prove something to yourself. You say, I can do this. And with every small win, your belief grows stronger. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you create through motion. Here's the key lesson. Momentum doesn't appear from thinking. It appears from doing. You can't plan your way into action. You act your way into clarity. Even if you don't know the whole path, take one small step. Once you move, the next step reveals itself. Movement creates energy, and energy sustains movement. That's the beautiful cycle of momentum. But be careful, momentum works both ways. Positive momentum pushes you forward. Negative momentum pulls you down. If you skip one day, it becomes easier to skip the next. If you delay once, procrastination grows stronger. That's why protecting your momentum is so important. It's fragile at first, but powerful once it grows. Treat it like a fire. Feed it daily, even with small sparks. Here's a simple rule you can follow. Never miss twice. If you miss one day, fine, life happens. But get back the next day. That keeps the rhythm alive. Momentum loves rhythm. It thrives on repetition. It rewards you for showing up. So the next time you feel stuck, don't wait for motivation. Just begin. Write one line. Walk one block. Speak one sentence in English. Start small and let momentum do the rest. Because once you're in motion, staying in motion becomes natural. And that's when growth feels effortless. Momentum is not magic. It's science. The science of movement and energy. When you move, you create power. When you stop, you lose it. So keep your life in motion. Even the smallest step today can keep your future rolling forward. And remember, The hardest step is always the first, but it's also the one that changes everything. Let's talk about something we all know too well: excuses. They sound innocent, even reasonable. I'm tired. I'll start tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. But behind every excuse hides fear, doubt, and a quiet surrender. Excuses are clever. They dress themselves as logic, but they steal your dreams, one small moment at a time. Here's the truth: every time you make an excuse, you choose comfort over growth. And the worst part? You often believe your own story. Your brain says, it's fine, you'll do it later. And you nod, feeling safe, not realizing you just delayed your progress again. Excuses feel comforting now, but painful later. They protect your comfort today and destroy your confidence tomorrow. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Leo. He wanted to get in shape. Every night he told himself, tomorrow I'll go for a run. But every morning he found a reason not to. It's raining. It's too hot. I'm too tired. He believed those words so many times that they became his truth. One day, he met an old friend who had transformed, fit, healthy, full of energy. Leo asked, how did you do it? The friend smiled and said, I stopped arguing with my excuses. That sentence hit him like lightning. From that day, he made a deal with himself. When an excuse showed up, he'd act in 5 minutes. He called it his 5-minute rule. Whenever he wanted to delay, he'd just start for 5 minutes. 5 minutes of running, 5 minutes of studying, 5 minutes of effort. And something amazing happened. Once he started, he rarely stopped, because action silences excuses. That's the trick. You don't fight excuses with motivation. You fight them with movement. Because when you move, your brain shifts focus from fear to action. And once you're in motion, excuses lose power. They can't keep up with momentum. Excuses love to visit when things feel uncertain. They whisper in your ear, you're not ready. Wait for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment doesn't exist. If you wait for it, you'll wait forever. The best moment to start is always now. Even if you don't feel ready, especially if you don't feel ready. Because readiness is something you build, not something you find. Here's a secret. Excuses are not enemies. They're signals. They show you exactly where your growth is hiding. When you hear one, it's your cue to act. You don't need to feel guilty about having excuses. You just need to see through them. Excuses mean your comfort zone is expanding. It's your brain trying to keep you safe. But safe is not where dreams live. Try this the next time you hear your excuse voice. Pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this a reason or a story? If it's a story, act anyway. If it's fear, act small. Because small action beats big hesitation every time. The 5-minute rule works because it's so simple. It lowers the barrier to start. Your brain thinks, 5 minutes? That's easy. But once you start, you build momentum. 5 minutes often turns into 30. 30 turns into consistency. And consistency beats perfection every time. Excuses can't survive in action. They need stillness to grow. The moment you move, they fade. So move, even when you don't want to. Especially when you don't want to. That's how discipline begins. Here's the truth. The most successful people still have excuses. They just don't listen to them. They hear them, smile, and act anyway. That's the difference between dreamers and doers. Dreamers negotiate with excuses. Doers outsmart them. So next time you catch yourself saying, I'll start tomorrow, stop. Take a deep breath. And start now for 5 minutes. Because when you move, you win. And when you win once, it becomes easier to win again. Excuses lose their voice when you choose action. And that's how change truly begins. Discipline. It's not the most exciting word, is it? It sounds strict, heavy, even boring. But the truth is, discipline is freedom. It's the quiet force that builds everything you've ever admired. While motivation starts your journey, discipline is what keeps it alive. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it means being hard on yourself or living without joy. But real discipline is not punishment, it's structure. It's the framework that supports your goals when motivation disappears. It's the muscle that grows stronger each time you choose action over comfort. Let's picture it. You're learning English. Some days it feels easy. You're inspired, focused, and confident. But other days, your mind says, not today. You're tired. You want to scroll, relax, do anything but study. This is where discipline steps in. Discipline whispers, just 5 minutes. You open your book. You start reading. And suddenly, you're back in the flow. That's how discipline saves you. Quietly, consistently, without drama. Here's the secret. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build, like a muscle. And just like muscles, it grows through repetition. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you train it. Every time you follow through, you strengthen it. And over time, what once felt hard becomes second nature. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who wanted to wake up early. She admired people who could rise before sunrise. But every morning, when her alarm rang, she hit snooze. One day, she decided to make a change. She didn't set a huge goal. She didn't aim for 5 a.m. immediately. She started with 10 minutes earlier each week. At first, it was tough. Her body resisted, but she kept at it. Week by week, it got easier. After a few months, waking up early became natural. Not because she loved mornings, but because she trained discipline. That's how discipline works. It doesn't demand perfection, it demands consistency. Tiny, daily effort builds the strongest foundation. You can't rely on willpower forever. Willpower fades, discipline stays. It becomes part of who you are. Think about it like brushing your teeth. You don't skip it just because you don't feel like it. You do it automatically. It's a habit, not a decision. That's what discipline creates, automatic action toward what matters. Many people wait for motivation to return, but disciplined people act regardless of feeling. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what's my plan? Because plans lead to progress, and progress fuels pride. And pride, real pride, becomes the new motivation. Discipline doesn't make your life smaller, it makes it simpler. You stop wasting time on indecision. You stop battling with yourself every day. You just do what you said you would do. And that builds trust with yourself. Trust is powerful. When you trust yourself, your confidence grows. You start believing, I can rely on me. That's the foundation of success. Here's something to remember. Discipline isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters most, even when it's boring. It's showing up on ordinary days, not just exciting ones, because the small, quiet actions build the loudest results. So, how do you build discipline? Start small, pick one habit, show up daily. Don't aim for perfect, just consistent. Set a time, a place, a rule. When your brain says, not today, smile and say, just 5 minutes. That's how discipline grows. One small promise kept at a time. And one day, you'll look back and realize something beautiful. You're no longer forcing yourself to act. You just act. Discipline has become part of you. It's who you are. So remember this. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. The spark may fade, but the engine keeps running. And if you keep showing up and every day a little more, you'll move further than you ever imagined. And now, we've come full circle. We started with laziness, that quiet thief of time. But we've learned something powerful along the way. You don't need to be perfect to change. You just need to begin. One small step, one short action, one brave decision. That's how everything starts. Action builds momentum. Momentum builds discipline. And discipline shapes the life you truly want. The truth is, transformation isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet. It happens in the small choices no one sees. When you choose effort over excuses. When you move forward even when it's hard. Those moments define you. So today, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Just begin, even for 5 minutes. Because once you start, you change. And when you change, everything around you starts to move too.